So I feel like Disney is being very deceptive upon reopening, hiding key information down a wall of text, not telling you what kind of risks are associated with your visit. So today I want to begin with a simple question. I want to ask you, what do you think it's worth to the average consumer to go to a place like Disney World? The reason that I ask that is simple. You can see the statement in front of you. This was posted to the Disney World website, and it had words like severe illness and death associated with the place. Not only that, but they're talking about extreme precautions as they move forward with masks, plexiglass dividers, temperature checks, and more as they open up. Now, equally fascinating about this is that Disney, they are not upfront about everything we're discussing. I mean, if you look at articles, sure, you see everything associated. But if you look at DisneyWorld.com, you see portions of it, but you don't see a part about you assuming all the risk. I wonder, like I say, articles, how do they impact? What are people willing to risk? And with Disney here, I also wonder what kind of culpability exists when you bury part of the details and links. And I get that they're desperate. I'll talk about this at the end of the video, but they're trying to repay $55.5 billion, that's billion with a B, of outstanding debt and commercial papers. So of course they've got to open the doors. But when it comes to liability, and when it comes to risking lives, what do you think about all of that? Let's hit it. So hey there. So today we return to that wonderful world of Disney. But before we get started, another case for The Littlest Umbrella. This is our second comic book. It is launched and it could use your help. Why? Because, well, this is the way that we avoid sponsorship. We don't need Raid Shadow Legends. And also, we go out and we challenge the comic industry. This thing has been mass flagged. We've had all kinds of fun starting out. But despite that, it has had phenomenal success, and hopefully you'll check this out. Thank you in advance. So when it comes to Disney, they've been spinning and spinning and spinning, trying to tell you that they're doing good because of Disney Plus and on. The reality, though, is that they are down billions of dollars they need to open, and they're willing to chance that now. Now, I want to make this clear. I do not blame Disney for wanting to go out and to want to open. I mean, no business endeavors to lose money, let alone billions of dollars. So yeah, when you see articles like this, again, I don't blame them. What I wonder is what I see in this article and how it impacts people. Again, what would you risk to go out and to actually go to a place like Disney? So Disney Springs Shopping and Dining Complex will once again welcome guests beginning on Wednesday. So days before, a small portion of Walt Disney World resorts reopens after months of being shuttered due to, well, you know what's going on. The company posted a blunt disclaimer to would-be guests. Disney Springs Shopping and Dining Complex will once again welcome guests beginning Wednesday, and while Disney has made it clear that quote-unquote enhanced health and safety measures will be the utmost importance, guests still assume all the risk. There you go. That's a crazy statement, too. I mean, when you think about it, something goes wrong, well, you should have known better than to come here. Quote, an inherent risk of exposure to exists in any public place where people are present. This thing here is an extremely contagious disease that can lead to severe illness and death. By visiting Walt Disney World Resort, you voluntarily assume all risks related to exposure to this thing. Now, what's fascinating about the end of that statement, it is not front and center when you go to DisneyWorld.com. You'll notice this message here. You don't see anything about you assuming all risks. They talk about Disney Springs. They will begin a phased reopening on May 20th. Here's what you need to know. And we have taken enhanced health and safety measures. Follow all posting instructions while visiting Walt Disney World Resort. An inherent risk of exposure to exists in any public place where people are present. View important details. So not everything is right out here front and center. Now, if you're asking yourself, that umbrella guy, why did we start with DisneyWorld.com? Well, when you search Disney, this is what you end up with. If you go to that link, however, you end up on Disney Spring. And yeah, when you read this, I can understand why they wouldn't want this to be front and center. It sounds scary, to be honest. Phase reopening of Disney Disney Spring, phased reopening of Disney Spring. It begins May 20th, and then the know before you go. As we begin to reopen Disney Spring with a number of shopping and dining locations beginning May 20th, we are looking ahead to May 27th when we will begin to reopen more of our Disney-owned shops and restaurants, including World of Disney, Deluxe Burger, Mobile Order, and the Marketplace Co-op. With that as our next milestone, we are eager to welcome back our guests as cast members and third-party operating participants with safety and well-being all at the forefront of our planning efforts. Now notice how far this is buried too, how far we're going to have to go before we really hear something creepy. As we navigate through this unprecedented time as responsibly as we can, we have implemented a number of new safety measures based on guidance from health authorities such as the CDC and appropriate government agencies. We, along with third-party operating participants, are all committed to a responsible reopening of Disney Springs. For cast members, operating participant employees, and guests, there are 6 key things you need to know before arriving at Disney Springs, and they include, now, limited parking and reduced entrances. Okay, I can see that. But when we get to temperature screenings prior to entry, that stuff, yeah. I mean, think about that. They're going to use something, they wipe it off a little, but they put it on one person's head, rub across it, go to the next person, and on. Think about what kind of risk you associate just having someone do that. Face coverings required for guests ages 3 and up, so little kids, they're exempt from that if they're under 3. Physical distancing practices, including physically distanced queues and physical barriers. Imagine that, too. You go in line, you have all these barriers around. While it's nice not to be right up against somebody, imagine how that's going to bring everything front and center. Temporary operating modifications, including reduced hours at select locations and no scheduled entertainment offerings or high-touch interactive areas. So you're offered less, you pay the same, and you have to jump through hoops. Fun times. The one thing that I do like in all of this here is an increased focus on disinfecting and sanitation, including an addition of hand washing stations and hand sanitizer in key areas. Because people are nasty. In fact, wearing around a mask and wearing around gloves, that's one of the things I actually do like. Hey, the people of Walmart, they're gross, and I always want to wear that. Then you get into the warnings here. We have taken enhanced health and safety measures for you, our guest cast members. You must follow all posted instructions while visiting Disney Spring. An inherent risk of exposure to this thing exists in any public place where people are present. This thing is extremely contagious disease that can lead to severe illness and death. According to the CDC, senior citizens and guests with underlying medical conditions are especially vulnerable. By visiting Disney Springs, you voluntarily assume all risks related to exposure to. Let's keep each other healthy and safe. So look how far we actually had to go down the page to be told that you're expected to read a wall of text. Not only that, but in this wall of text, they go on to describe each of these things that we discussed. Yeah, do you feel like maybe they hid that a little bit? In the articles, they tell you what's going on. But Disney, they've taken a concerted effort to say we're following the rules and guidelines associated with this stuff, But, like I said too, I understand and I empathize not with the corporation and the conglomerate, but with the people behind it, the mom and pops that actually own stock in it because of what's happening with Disney. You can see in headlines like this, the ones that Disney isn't propping up, that they have seen profit plunge 63% in their first quarter as all of this lockdown forces the entertainment and media giant to close its theme parks, suspend cruise and theatrical shows, delay theatrical distribution of films, amongst others. To offset this stuff, the company this month withdrew its semi-annual cash dividend from its first half of fiscal 2020, reduced executive compensation, and furloughed furloughed, meaning, hey, we got to get these people out of here. We can't pay them right now. Over 120,000 employees. Imagine that. On top of it, Disney, they've had to raise $11 billion, that's billion with a B, from bond sales to bolster their finances because, look at this stuff here. The proceeds from that sale, they're expected to be used for general corporate purposes, including the repayment of its $55.5 billion of outstanding debt and commercial paper. Wow. Remember, too, the things that are most dangerous to you and I, those are the things that Disney are desperate to reopen because they cost them the most money. Most of the damage the company has had are $1 billion in losses for one quarter. We're talking about one quarter here. They came from closed theme parks as well as docking its cruise ships. Now, they look like they're making money. They had an overall revenue raise of $18 billion, which looked really good. But that's because they had gone out and done things like acquire 21st Century Fox Entertainment assets. Disney itself, its earnings fell 91% to $475 million, down sharply from $5.4 billion in the year-ago period. So yeah, $5.4 billion goes down to $475 million. You can imagine being in charge and thinking, my God, everything's going to end. But again, liability for you and I, us actually risking our lives to go in and to quote-unquote enjoy that theme park. Is that worth it? How many people will actually go in and say, yeah, that's what I want to do? Anyway, you tell me what you think about this stuff. And really, do you think that practice there, that deceptive one, if somebody ends up paying the ultimate price, will that stuff hold up in court? Anyway, tell me what you think. So to close, I want to remind you of Raid Shadow. No, I'm going to remind you of our comic book. This is the way that we avoid sponsors. We can go out and challenge the mainstream, and we can have fun while doing it. You like the channel? You want to help it out? Consider picking up a comic, or, if you want to pick up every comic book associated with it, yeah, check that out too. This is another case for the Littlest Umbrella. Little Umbrella Girl, that is my daughter's avatar. That's why it's set up this way, because I want her to enjoy this. I want you to enjoy it. I want us all to have a good time and remind ourselves that comics, they weren't about culture war. They were about escapism, and that's what we can have. But anyway, I want to thank you for being here. You make this stuff work out. Without you, none of it does. I appreciate the heck out of you people, too. And let's grow this stuff. Let's make everything work out, and let's show everyone that we can do our thing and all of this other stuff. Yeah. Anyway, thank you.